There is an energy in the universe, there is something that is in each and every one of us, and it's also in the universe. You are connected to it in a way that is often perceived to be aloof from us because it's invisible, because it's in the world of what we call spirit, the world that is not material. And I would like to suggest that you suspend your disbelief. Allow yourself to know that you're not a human being here having a spiritual experience, but that is the other way around, that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And the quality of your human experience is really much more dependent upon how you use this invisible intelligence and how you connect to this energy. And once you have an awareness that you can never be separate from it, that you and it and whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you call it God, if you call it divine presence, if you call it soul, if you call it spirit, if you call it consciousness, if you call it Christ consciousness, you can call it Buddha consciousness, you can call it Louise, you can call it Edna, you can call it Ralph. Alan Watts once said that you can't get wet from the word water, and it isn't the word that allows you to experience water. And whatever it is that you call it is something that is distinct from what it is. When I was walking in here this evening on these beautiful grounds, I saw some people looking at the flowers and the different plants that were growing. And as they were looking at them, there was one person who was obviously an expert, a botanist of some kind, and he was trying to explain to each one of the people what the name was, the technical name for each one of the flowers. And I was watching that and thinking, it doesn't matter what you call it. Can't you enjoy looking at that thing? It's orange, and it just came out of nowhere. There's something very profound about enjoying it and being there with it rather than being obsessed with labeling it. There was a very famous Danish theologian. His name was Søren Kierkegaard. He once said that once you label me, you negate me. Once you place a label on me and put me into a compartment or a category of some kind, I must then become what it is that you have labeled me to be. So that we want to be able to live our lives and to practice principles of higher awareness without being so consumed with what I call ordinary human awareness. And ordinary human awareness is just the recognition or the belief system that I am a human being. Maybe I'm having a spiritual experience, I'm not quite sure. But higher human awareness, but sometimes in the East called city awareness. In the West it's been called higher consciousness or Christ consciousness. There's many names for it. But when you get beyond just knowing yourself as this body and this personality and this thing that you inhabit, and begin to realize that who you are is that which was never born and can never die. When you recognize your eternal self, and that's what this program is really about. It's really about recognizing the power, the energy, the capacity to be able to do what it says in some of the most holy books that you've ever read is that even the least among you can do all that I have done and even greater things. That's not just empty words from Holy Scriptures. That's a very powerful lesson that each and every one of us can practice and live every day. What I'd like to suggest to you, and what this program is really about, is that there are higher levels of awareness that are available to us. A level of awareness that allows us to do things like, and it may sound a bit strange, but to manage the coincidences of our lives, to be able to place our attention on what it is that we would like to create for ourselves in our lives, to literally have the power to know that if I think about it and I keep it there and I keep that picture firm within me, there is an energy, a source, a capacity within me that is in the universe and that is also in me, and that I can use this energy, that I can manage it. There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives, but basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. Once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life. Emerson said, "The ancestor to every action is a thought." You can look at every spiritual tradition, whether it's Eastern or Western, whether it's ancient or modern, whether it's civilized or uncivilized, whether it's tribal, In all of these persuasions, there is this idea that inside each and every one of us, in a place that is not material, in a place that has no dimensions, in a place that has no boundaries, that in each and every one of us we have this power and we have this intelligence. You can never see it. I've often said that when you die, if you're going to die, and 5 minutes before you're ready to leave, they weigh your body, and let's say it weighs, let's pick a good number, 150 pounds, all right? Then life leaves your body, and they weigh your body instantly after you're dead, and it still weighs 150 pounds. So your body weighs the same alive or dead before it begins to deteriorate. If that's the case, then your life, this thing that leaves your body and your body still weighs the same, is weightless. Your life is weightless. You can't put a dimension on it. You can't put a measure on it. One of those 10 secrets for success and inner peace is that you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it, and know this, that your mind created everything in your life that you call a problem. And self-actualizing, highly functioning people who live at these extremely, extraordinarily high levels of consciousness never put their thoughts on what is if they don't like what is. Because if your thoughts are on what is and you despise what is, and if you look at poor people, if you look at unsuccessful people, if you look at sickly people, if you look at tired people, if you look at addicted people, you will see people who put their attention constantly on their problems, on what is wrong, on what isn't working, on what I can't do, and so on. They'll tell you about it. They'll focus on it. And when your thoughts are on what is, and what you think about is what expands, you continue to attract more of what is into your life. When I had a practice, I had a woman who came to me who said, I just went through a divorce 7 months ago, and I've been dating, and I've dated 4 different men. And all 4 of them have used me as a sex object, and every single one of them called me up after the first date and, were mistreating me, and they didn't have any respect for me, and that was the end of it. And she said, I'd like you to talk to all 4 of these men. And I said, there's only one common denominator here. You are attracting into your life what you are putting your attention on. It's called the job effect. You can't think about what is missing, and you can't think and put your energy and talk about what is if you don't. Like what is can't do that unless you want more of that to show up. Third, you cannot put your attention or your thoughts or your energy on what always has been. If you put your thoughts or your energy on what always has been is what will continue to show up into your life. What always has been is the wake of a boat. Your life is a boat. It's heading up the river in that direction, and is heading there at 40 knots. And you're standing on the stern and you're looking down at the water. And as the boat goes in this direction, here you are looking down into the water. And what do you see? You see the wake, and what is the wake? The wake is the trail that is left behind. That's what the wake of your life is. That's what the wake of the boat is. And if you ask yourself the question, what's driving the boat? What's making this thing head in this direction? The answer is the present moment. Energy that is being generated by the engine, and nothing more, is what's making the boat go in this direction. And then if you ask yourself this key question, is it possible for the wake to drive the boat? Can a trail that is left behind make a boat go in this direction? What's the answer? Impossible, isn't it? And so too, is it impossible for the wake of your life, the trail that you've left behind, to be the reason why your life is going in this direction? It is not because of anything that has happened back here. That's an illusion. That we live under what has happened back here is a trail, the choices you make in this moment. And if your thoughts are on what always has been, this is the way we've always done things, this is the kind of person I am, I can't change, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, all of those cliches that have become so much a part of our life. If your thoughts are on what always has been and you despise what always has been, you will continue to attract more of what always has been, even though you despise it. It works that way.